Reggilar show. Today, we're going to be talking about, we recently played,
the Sonic
Sonic
trilogy
of crap,
Yeah.
or whatever it is we'll be calling it. This is obviously retro review. This isn't, this is more like 3 bad Sonic games, that we played recently. Today we'll be talking about, Shadow.
Yeah. Shadow,
Sonic and the Secret Rings.
and the Black Knight. Sonic and the Black Knight.
Do you want to just start doing these chronological order?
Well, which one comes first?
That would be Shadow.
Yeah.
So I guess so. Let's start talking about Shadow. You
Yeah.
can if you want to give us your thoughts, Sean.
So, I mean, we're the Spec Ops team. Obviously, you notice there's only 2 of us. We're the 2 that
Right.
dared. Shadow. This is the first. This is the one that actually kicked us off on our marathon of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming into this. I'm not a big Sonic person. I don't have too much Sonic background, so it's interesting having a
Right.
perspective like that coming in. I understand the aspects of the game, but I just never really played too many. I played Shadow, and it was like, okay. See, I went in playing this.
If I might, it's an interesting dichotomy because Sean had never really played Sonic games. I have a very extensive Sonic background, so these are kind of some of the first 3D Sonic games you really played in depth.
Right.
So that's good.
Yes.
I'm sure you had a great experience.
See, Shadow. Okay. It starts with the cutscene, and that's the thing that kicks it off for me. I've seen the cutscene before, and I always thought it was hilarious. Seeing it in context, it's still just as hilarious. For me, I love playing games. I don't like just breaking them. That's what I do. This game, it almost broke me. Put it in perspective. There was one level. It was this. I got through. It was like the 3rd level or something because it's got this branching path thing that's weird. The story, like, I couldn't understand it at all. And I got to just a part in the game, and I kept dying, and some parts was just me messing around. Some parts, okay, it's just so bad.
Yeah,
because
it's hard. It's hard to put it into the strict. Now we were talking about this. I don't think there's ever been a really good 3D Sonic game. There have been some that have been better than others. I don't think they've ever captured that that kind of perfect formula. I think that they're looking for.
A lot of people would say Adventure Battle 2, and that's fine, but
yeah, and even I don't think Adventure Battle 2. If I were to go back, and I think a lot of people, if you were to go back and play it now, I don't think it holds up as well as you might remember it.
Right.
It's kind of a sloppy game. As is like some of Heroes has a lot of problems. And these are some of the better 3D ones, and even they're not that great.
Because I played a bit of Heroes, and that one I can still mess around in that one just to make the code in the game screw up.
Yeah.
But Shadow, it's like everything is messed up.
Shadow has a lot of problems. The tonal thing is you're talking about with the opening cutscene. This game tries to be really dark.
Yes.
Gritty and dark. That's a pretty famous, I think, opening cutscene. I would say if you're curious about Shadow, go watch the opening cutscene, and then that could be the end.
That's it. That's all you need to see.
I wouldn't, unless you were like really morbidly, like if you have a weird morbid sense of curiosity like I do. This game's really bad.
Right.
But it's like Shadow, like walks up over this hill and he slaps a magazine into his machine gun, cocks it, and it's like this shitty heavy metal playing. He's like riding around on a motorcycle.
Because this stuff, it's all in the game. Like guns are in the game, the motorcycles in the game. And it's just stuff that doesn't really make sense in the context.
I know that a lot of people think the guns are stupid, and I will agree. This game has vehicle sections, and that's extremely dumb to me. Like, why would Shadow, or because he's basically Sonic?
Yeah.
Why do you need to ride a motorcycle? Does he get tired? Like, what is it? Like, I don't.
He never did none of the other ones. He's always just running
No.
around. He's got like booster shoes or whatever, jet boots.
Jet boots, yeah. He's got like little jet boots.
But then like he rides a top in that one level I couldn't beat on the radioactive stuff. To give an example of how bad this game is, the homing attack is very central to the Sonic series. I jump, there's that top, and you have to ride it down the radioactive goo, otherwise you die. And there's an enemy on top of it, so you have to kill him first. And I homing attack him and kind of like flip right around after I hit him. And he starts going down the river of goo. And I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go get that. So I just jump off and do a homing attack, and he's already like 3 miles down the river. And I just start homing attacking all the way down, and then he disappears, and I die.
Yeah, I think in terms of central problems, I think that if you played Sonic Adventure 2, you'd probably be pretty familiar. It's very similar. In terms of how it looks, how it controls. Yes. I think what the problem is, there's a couple problems. Just two. No, there's a million problems, but there's a couple of fairly large problems. Level design wise, and this is something that I think Sonic Team does a lot with these 3D games, and it's a really bad idea, and I don't know why they haven't figured it out. So, when you're playing a Sonic game, you want to run, you want to go fast, it's momentum. They just litter the levels with tons of shit. Like, they'll just be like, okay,
this game specifically.
This game is really bad about that. It's one of the worst, I think, because you'll be like, there'll be a section where you're like running really fast for like 2 seconds and you'll just slam into a box. Yeah. Or you'll slam into an enemy.
They'll put an enemy right at the end of those coin streaks that you're supposed
to
do.
Yeah, or whatever. You'll come around a bend and just slam into an enemy. Yeah. There's just, and it's not just enemies, it's boxes. It's just weird geometrical kind of obstructions, parts of the level. And it makes the game very very stop and go. And this can also be leveled at something, the Black Knight, which we'll talk about later. I think it's kind of a problem with Heroes as well. But this one, I think, is one of the worst. It's just so...
Well, they try to tie it in with the story, like being good and bad. Yeah. And there's two groups of enemies, and... Okay, for when you're doing the neutral stuff, it makes sense, but when you start doing one of the two paths, those enemies will still shoot you. So you've got the good guys and the bad guys shooting you and popping up all over the place. And
so usually what happens is you're going through a level, so it's just very stop and go, and the levels are very poorly designed. And so usually what you'll do is you'll have a neutral path, which is to complete the level, like you're playing a Sonic game. Mm-hmm. Then there'll be like a good path, and it's like, okay, kill all the bad guys. Or it'll be a bad path, and it'll be like, kill all the good guys. And depending on what path you choose in the levels, there's like a big kind of spider web like thing of branching paths and stuff like that.
And stuff.
Right, and there'll be different levels on the paths, which is, I guess, kind of a cool idea, but it's obviously done extremely poorly here.
Right.
And so, say if you want to kill all of the bad guys. As you said, the good guys will keep shooting at you even if you're killing the bad guys, which is extremely frustrating.
Right.
However, say it's like, okay, kill 60 bad guys.
Right.
So you're going through the level and you're killing 60 bad guys, and obviously this isn't a Sonic game. I don't need to kill 60 dudes in a level, but okay, so say you get to the end of the level and you've only killed 45 bad guys. You then have to port to the front of the level again, and then go through it
and find the ones you missed.
And it will inevitably get to a point where you have like 58 out of the 60, and you are just scouring these levels back and forth looking for these people, and it is obscenely frustrating. Because usually the bad guys or the good guys, it's like all the enemies in the level.
Right.
So it's very tedious. Like, it's obscenely tedious to have to do this. And to get the true ending of this game, you're going to have to play this game
like... You have to defeat it 10 times,
like 10 freaking times. And you're going to have to do each one of these, and the levels are just... There was this one level when I was trying to beat it for real, to get all the endings and stuff, because I've never actually, fully beaten the game. And there's this weird level where, it's like the Space Colony Arc, but it's not a linear level. You have to kill all the guys, and it's this big, sprawling complex where, all the stuff, all the guys, look the same, or, all the corridors look the same and stuff, and I'm just playing it, and I look up at my thing, I've been playing this thing for 50 fucking minutes, and I'm I throw my controller down, and I go, I'm not doing this.
That was the end?
I can't. I beat Sonic 06, and I'm not doing this.
Right.
It's horrible. It's so tedious. When you're just running through the levels, it's bad, but it's not. But like when you have to do this tedious crap, like you have to do something like really tedious in a really poorly designed game, and it's just perfect storm of shit, and it's awful. It's a really, really awful game. I don't know if I could give the game any positive marks at all.
No, I mean, there's nothing redeeming about it at all. I actually beat it. One of the lines. I don't really have any want to play it again. I saw all I needed to see the story. There's 4. You go through 4 of the vectors. You end up with Hector in the end.
Just play this level with Vector, because you always have this character falling around and just shouting in your ear. And Vector kept falling.
He kept dying.
Like, through the platforms.
And they're in space, so he's going to fall to his death on Earth. Because I did a couple times, so I knew what happened. So I knew Vector died. But anyway, that's all I can say. I don't know. It's pretty terrible.
It's pig shit.
Yeah.
It's my review. Pig shit.
I gave it a 0 out of 10 because of rings. So.
I thought that was the next one. So. Sonic and the Secret Rings will begin in media res.
Right.
Sonic and the Secret Rings is balls.
Yeah.
I hate to give that away at the beginning. So what we'll do is we'll do the ending first, and then we'll see how we got up to this, like I said, in media res.
It's like a film.
So it opens up with KJ saying Sonic and the Secret Rings is balls, and then we're like, well, why
Reggilar show. Boom, boom,
Reggilar show. Boom, boom, boom. 10 minutes earlier.
Yes.
Sonic and the Secret Rings. What do you think of Sonic and the Secret Rings?
I again came into this to know... this was the one I played second, right? I think?
No, I think you played Black Knight second, and then we went... Right, yeah, but this is chronologically release date, Secret Rings.
This one, this was the... we got this instead of 06. I think we also got... Black Knight as well.
Yes, but this is kind of why we started playing him. Is we were kind of going post Christmas shopping, and I saw Secret Rings and Black Knight for sale for like $15 a piece.
Yeah, and
I had heard Black Knight was awful.
That Sonic or Sega probably still made money off of those.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because they look like they cost about $5 a piece to make.
Maybe.
So I was like, I always kind of wanted to play it because again, I have this morbid curiosity about bad
You're
games.
a Sonic guy.
I like Sonic. So
I
enjoy playing bad Sonic games. Right. So, or at least like seeing how bad they get. So I picked that up, and then I heard from a friend of mine that Secret Rings was also bad, though I hadn't heard anything about it. So I picked that one.
The reviews for this, they think the lowest review we saw from a respected outlet was a 4 out of 10.
This reviewed quite well.
So
I have no idea why.
No, because this was, as I said, we got this instead. This was like this is Wii. We got to put in motion controls. So
yeah,
you control something. I like the way that Kyle, who suggested the game as it being bad. It's like riding a motorcycle because you do this to move. You might as well hold the remote like that.
You hold the Wiimote on its side. So okay, so basically, how it works is it's sort of like a Temple Runner style game where you're always moving forward, but you're not really. But you get the basic idea.
You would think.
One would think, but okay, so. You hold the Wiimote like this, and then you tilt this way to move Sonic, you tilt that way, and he's kind of always moving forward.
Yeah.
That's not an inherently awful idea, and that's what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. It's so much worse, though, I think, because the controls in this game are just abysmal. Like, absolutely. Like, some of the... I don't... Is this the worst controls you've seen in a game?
The worst I can think of off the top of my head right now, yeah.
Because it's up there. Like, this is the most... This is the... I don't know if you dislike them as much as... I don't think you dislike them as much as I do, because no one does. I hate motion controls.
Yeah.
With all
burning.
all of my fat heart, I hate motion controls. And this is probably the worst implementation of motion controls I think I've ever seen.
Well, I think one of the big problems was, yeah, the whole like, it feels like he's moving around on, like, because it's not even just the controls, but like the implementation into the game, like the model is just kind of like floating around, like he's on ice with butter on his shoes or something. And another problem with it is there are certain things where they make you go backwards, so you can't. It's impossible to go backwards. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
You hold it like this, and he'll go forward a little bit and then back, and
I think that's obviously a good point to bring up. I think there are a couple problems once again. Big problems. A, there's a button to jump, so you assume that when you jump, you would jump like up, like in the air or whatever. However, what's going to happen is you're going to press the button and Sonic's just kind of going to fling himself forward.
Yeah.
He's going to like kind of hop up and then go forward.
Well, you also have to hold the button down a little bit.
If you want to actually go up, you're going to have to hold the button and then release it. Mm-hmm. So this is really weird. I don't know why they did this, but it's strange. Particularly because when you jump, say you're charging a jump, Sonic's going to be going 5 million miles an hour, and then you're going to want to jump, and he's going to go, and he's just going to stop on a dime, and then he's going to jump straight up.
Yeah.
So basically, you're either going to get like 2 inches off the ground and fling yourself forward, or you're going to jump straight up.
There's no it's a reflex game. Sonic is, and this.
So you cannot jump on reflex. Yeah. Basically, so because what's going to happen is you're going to see a pit. Say, you're going to press the jump button like a regular human being would.
Right.
Then you're just going to fling yourself forward into the pit.
Like it doesn't even look like he jumps when you hit the button. Like
he just kind of goes, like,
and then
and. Second major problem, this is still including the jump. So with the homing attack, a homing attack is awful. So what happens is, if you do the jump up, and then what's going to happen is a little crosshair is going to come up and it's going to go on an enemy.
Yep.
And then you have to go like this,
shake your controller
with the Wiimote, and then he's going to go. This works about half the time, and it doesn't work if you just fling yourself.
No.
So basically, you cannot just kill enemies or jump over gaps on reflex. You're just going to have to know where the enemies are and where the pits and stuff are. And that's really bad, because you're just going to like just die and die and die and die, and then you're going to have to memorize the entire level.
Like you have to know in advance when you need to start holding the button down, because you'll start like sliding forward. Yeah. And then you jump. And
then the third thing, and I would say this is probably Sean's greatest enemy, is the you can go backwards.
Yes.
But it is so weird, because what you have to do is you're holding it, you have to like pull it back.
Yeah.
Like this. So Sonic, a lot of times Sonic will just like he'll be going forward, and then he'll stop, and then he'll kind of like go back, but then he'll start going forward. It's
like you're trying to pull back a dog on a leash.
Right, yeah, it's really hard to do. So, say for instance, you just missed something. You ran past something, you missed something.
You did this multiple times.
You're going to have to keep like...
Because there was situations where there was a door, and like I didn't get hurt. It's just like I slammed into the door, and I had missed whatever I was supposed to do to activate it.
Open it, yeah.
And then I had to like geriatric my way back.
Like you were putting a car in reverse or something, right. But like it was like so like for instance, like say you do this thing where it's so hard to back Sonic up. So you do this thing where, okay, say an enemy just pops up. Mm-hmm. You're gonna slam into the enemy, and Sonic's gonna like hop back a little bit, but then he's gonna start moving forward again. And so you're trying to stop him, and the enemies don't even attack you. They just stand there, because that's all they need to do.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is you're like this. You're trying to pull him back, and the enemies are standing there like you guys are like trying to do that thing where like somebody walks forward, and then you like walk in the same direction. and you're like, you guys just stop because you don't want to run into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like that, so he's kind of like just standing there.
It's almost like you're balancing yourself on one foot while a dog is trying to pull you forward and you're trying to pull it back.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how imprecise this is.
So you have to pull him back and make sure he doesn't go forward, and then charge up a jump right in front of the guy, and then jump up, and then wait for the cursor.
And, like,
it's so bad.
The badness of this game goes beyond the controls. It's like...
Yeah, it is, actually.
One of my favorite things in a game is music. And the music in this game, they only have one song.
I think there's, like, maybe 2 tracks in the whole...
Like, each stage, like, each world-themed thing... Because it's like a book, and you have different missions, but they don't unlock in chronological order for whatever reason.
Right, yeah.
So, like, you always... At the end of a level, you hear this weird song, and it's like... Yes, seven rings of hell.
Or whatever.
And then it plays it again when you go through the stuff, but then it's like this. It's like the story was getting into the story. There is none, but you're like there's this genie that you find because you're Sonic. And
it's like set in Arabian Nights.
Yeah.
Like he's pulled into Arabian Nights, which is kind of a neat setting. Like I know some people would probably find a dumb concept, Sonic and Arabian Nights, but it's kind of neat. It could have been done well.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically you have to like level, like you have a leveling up system, and so it'll be like, okay, here's the next story mission, then you do it, and then you'll kind of need to be like, say, 5 levels higher than you are to get to the next story mission. So it's kind of like in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, for instance, they had all these different missions. Like you could do the same level over again, but like have different objectives or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do them in this one.
Yeah.
So the pacing is awful. Because you're basically, okay, I beat the level, now beat it 10 more times and we'll give you a new one. It's really, the pacing is atrocious.
The game looks terrible. The menu system, it looks like it was made in paint. Then there's the thing where we didn't know how to start. There's these levels that are later tutorials where you earn a thing that you have to equip, but it doesn't tell you that you need to equip it. So you try to do the mission where you're using this power, but you don't have the power.
It
doesn't tell you what to do.
Really bad documentation. Like it's. Oh, it might be a worst Sonic game I played. Like it's one of them. I don't know how this reviewed well.
I have no idea how this reviewed well because I played this in. Okay, I played Shadow, as you know from the previous thing, and this game is much worse than Shadow. Mm. And I gave Shadow a 0. I didn't mean to give it a 0. It was more like a 1. This is the one that I was supposed to give 0 for rings. 0. Because this is absolutely terrible. If there was a negative score I could give it, I probably would. But we're not even trying to do scores. The 0 for rings was a joke, but it is that terrible.
My final thoughts, Sonic and the Secret Rings is balls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we go back
there we go.
Beginning.
Full circle ending.
Like a ring.
Alright, so
the trilogy of reviews continues.
The trilogy comes to its conclusion with Sonic and the Black Knight. What did you think of Sonic and the Black Knight, Sean?
This one, chronologically of the 3, is the last, but this is the first one I saw. I saw him play a little bit of it, and I played it. It looks worse than it really is, I'll have to say.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
It's terrible, but I was looking at it and I was like, man, this is stupid. Okay, it's again a weird setting with Sonic and the King Arthur stories.
Yeah.
King Arthur's like a bad guy. He got possessed by the devil or something. I don't know. It's some weird. I don't know. Anyway, the story again just doesn't make any sense. But it's Sonic in a fictional situations, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was looking at it. It looked super stupid. It's a waggle thing, but it's not as bad as Rings. We have to do this. Basically, you're Sonic with a sword, and you have to defeat enemies. And on rare occasions, because you're again trying to get from beginning to the end, like Sonic should. And then there's occasionally stages where you have to do something weird, like give villagers money, and you have to actually convince them to give them money. It's just, like super stupid.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, okay, this game was also terrible, but in the state, it was surprising how well the art, the design actually worked for this game.
Yeah, it's okay. So it's basically like Sonic and the Secret Rings. It's pretty similar.
Yeah.
However, in that you're essentially on rails. However, Sonic does not always go forward though.
No.
What you would do is instead of
You
playing
control his movement.
Instead of playing it on the side, you play it with a nunchuck. So what happens is you can basically move Sonic up farther on the rail or backwards with the stick, and you can also move him left or right.
Yeah.
You have a sword, of course, because you're in King Arthur times or whatever.
Right.
And it basically controls sort of like the sword fighting in Twilight Princess, where it's sort of just you waggle as kind of an invisible button, and then he'll just kind of
move the sword.
Yeah, it's not a 1-to-1 thing. It's not Skyward.
Comparing the games to Zelda. This is good.
Yeah, well, what else?
It's funny.
Okay. So, when I first got played the game, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
It's going to leave a very horrible first impression on you, because you're sort of like, what is this game? It's an extremely odd game. It's not really going to improve much from there. It gets a little better, like, as you get used to it, but it's still a pretty bad game.
Yes.
The sword stuff is obscenely imprecise. There's like a when you swing, there's like a lag when Sonic attacks, so it's kind of it's kind of awkward. There's basically no precision to the sword fighting at all. You're just going to just kind of flail at whatever's in front of you.
Like, calling it sword fighting is
because it's generous. Yeah,
right.
I would say so. This game is very, like we were talking about with Shadow, this is very stop and go. You're going to be, like, running, 500 miles an hour, and there's not really a ton of... It's weird, because there's not unlike Secret Rings, there's not a ton of reflex-based platforming or anything, really. It's more like you're just running through some backgrounds, and then you're going to just slam into some enemies, and then you flail at them for a couple seconds, they die, and then you just keep running forward again.
Because, this one had a better flow to me when I was playing. Like, that's generous, but better flow than the other ones.
Think about what we're comparing it to.
This one, I could actually go forward, and if I saw them coming fast enough or whatever, because they do pop out of the ground and stuff, but if you started swinging fast enough, and randomly you had good luck, where they didn't defend you, you could actually just, like, slash through a group of enemies and keep running at the same time. So the flow wasn't, like, at least in Shadow, because in that one you would just stop.
Like, you would just slam into stuff. Yeah. But there was, like, no way to stop yourself from slamming into stuff. I don't really know. Like, to me, the other two games are really poorly designed. This game just kind of has no design.
Right.
Like, the levels aren't really designed in any way. The fighting isn't designed in any ways.
This feels like a kid's game. Like,
it does feel like a very mindless kid's game.
Right.
Yeah.
And for that, it's not a good one because it's still boring. But you don't feel frustrated, at least, when you play it.
Yeah, because it is very much just, again, push forward, some bad guys pop up, you waggle and flail, they're dead. Like you were saying, I think unlike the other two, which are just frustratingly shit, this one's more boring. Like, there just really isn't... There's just nothing really here. It's not much of a game at all. It's just kind of just go...
It's almost an interactive story. You just, like, go and you go, whatever.
Yeah, and just kind of slice some stuff up and just keep moving forward. And it's...
You can't really lose, like, except for in the boss battles.
Yeah, it's... I almost don't have a ton to say about it, because with the other ones I go, okay, here's the problems, here's some more problems. This one's just kind of whatever to me. I mean, I wouldn't call it even a mediocre game. I'd still call it an actively bad game, but there's just not a ton to do.
Yeah.
The story doesn't flow at all. It's similar to Secret Rings, where you kind of have different stages, and then you unlock, like, a little optional...
But at least this one, like that one, as I said, that menu, it was a menu system where it's like made in paint. This one has a map system, which is kind of...
I actually like the menus in this game. Yeah. I thought they were very medieval and...
They're very organic, at least.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, it's a map, and you move around the map. That's one thing we haven't talked about, is like, this game is... as it is for kids and stuff like that, there's a ton in this game where you just don't know, like, what? Because at the end of every level, you get these things that you can appraise.
Items.
Yeah, items. but
you can't really use them.
no, because you can equip yourself with some of them, but like maybe a third of them are usable. The rest just seem like mindless or they're just there for flavor.
I don't know, because
But
I think about halfway through the game, you get to play as different characters.
yeah,
So, you play the first half of Sonic, and then you can also... And they're kind of different, I believe. Like, you can play as Knuckles, Shadow, and Blaze
right.
later.
Percival, Gawain,
and
Lancelot.
Lancelot, yeah. So, I think you can equip them with, like, items and stuff. Like,
Okay.
some of the, maybe, equipment and stuff. Like, but some of them
Oh
were, like...
yeah, because it doesn't fit Sonic.
Right, but some of them were like flowers or stuff
Or
like
aluminum ores.
that. I don't know. It seems weird to be giving you all these items and then not have them be useful until like 3 hours later.
It doesn't tell you. It's just
Because I can't even look at what I have.
yeah,
So,
that's another thing.
I don't even know how many, say, of these flowers I have and what use. I don't know. It's a very poorly designed game.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
It felt like a lot. Like this is the way it feels to me. Like they had 5 different groups of people. One worked on the story, one worked on the design of the game, and then they all like worked to a certain day, and then they're like none of them were finished.
Yeah.
But they all just still combined it, and then after they combined everything, they just like, oh, we need to finish this to be able to make this game playable, and then that's what they did.
It does. The game feels very half formed to me. It's like there's a kernel of an idea there, and it's not realized in any kind of way. The game feels really farted out to me, like somebody just kind of...
I like your analogy of the kernel. You know how like you have a bag of popcorn,
Right,
and
yeah.
like there's one of those ones that like half popped, but there's still a kernel in it, so you can't really eat it. This is what this game is.
I don't know, and we're kind of coming to the close here, and I think if we want to talk about kind of these 3 games,
Yeah.
in general, I don't know what's going on at Sonic Team for the last 10 years or something. I don't think...
Because then one thing,
It's like they can't finish games or something.
because then Colors came after this, and it was okay.
We'll maybe talk about that at some point. Colors
Yeah.
is all right. I mean, Generations is fine.
Yeah.
From what I play, I haven't played a ton of Generations, but I played some of it. It's fine. But there was this period here, and we're kind of in the midst of it with these 3 games. It's like, I mean, these games are balls, like awful.
Right.
This is Sonic, you know, like
he's a
that's one of the kind of premier icons of gaming. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell did you do? Like, how did you screw it up so badly?
I mean, if you think about it, think about what we just said about Black Knight, and that's the one we think's the best out of the 3 we played.
I would agree. I would agree that Black Knight is the best out of these 3. I don't know if that would be a popular opinion held by us.
I don't know.
What would you say is the worst?
Secret Rings, definitely.
I would say Secret Rings too. So I guess we're in a total agreement. And it's Black Knight, Shadow,
And
Secret Rings. I would be, and it wasn't released for a Nintendo console, but if we ever get around to playing 06, we'll probably talk about it. And we'll kind of do a versus. Secret Rings is up there. I don't like. I don't know how Secret Rings. I'd have to play it again. Well, I wouldn't have to. Don't want to, but Secret Rings is because the other two are rightfully remembered as being bad.
Yeah.
They got bad reviews, so on and so forth. Secret Rings, though, reviewed well.
Yeah, I can't find a bad review for it. I don't understand that.
It's so bad. I don't know how anyone enjoys this game. I don't know how anyone gained any enjoyment from it. Yeah. Sonic Team needs to get their shit together real bad. I don't know who's responsible for this, but it's absolutely awful.
I don't know if this is just like they made a ton of money off of these because they only took $5 to make, and then like tons of people bought them or whatever. But because now we have better games, but they're still like Sonic Heroes was a better game and it was good, and so was Adventure Battle 2. But those also had problems.
Those also had problems.
And so does Colors, and I don't know. None of these are even close to the worst Mario game ever. Like, worst mainline Mario. And I'm not even sure what that would be. But
2, maybe? I don't know.
But, like, none of these approach that. And it's just weird. How is that possible?
This is not a consistent quality with Sonic. I think that's the problem. But, we'll probably talk about Sonic again at some point in the future. because he has a very interesting legacy.
Yeah.
But that's probably about as much Sonic as I could take today. So I
that's
hope
it.
I hope you enjoyed this bitching about Secret Rings.